Have you ever pondered what a perfect world would look like? Imagine a place where tranquility and harmony are not fleeting moments, but the very fabric of society. Picture a world where men and women alike are educated, where property is shared for the common good, and where fear, oppression, violence, and suffering are but distant memories. This is a world where political disagreements and social quarrels are replaced with understanding and unity. It's a world where the concept of war is foreign and the distribution of wealth is equitable. This vision might seem like a far-off dream, a fantasy too good to be true. But what if this dream had been given form in the written word? What if it had been explored, dissected, and presented to the world through a dialogue between friends and contemporaries? And what if I tell you that this perfect world has a name? It's called Utopia. Utopia, an ideal society, was first introduced by a man named Thomas More. This was not just a fanciful dream, but a concept that would ripple through the ages, shaping the very fabric of societal thought. Thomas More, a man of many talents, was a lawyer, philosopher, statesman, and a noted Renaissance humanist. Yet it was his role as an author that would etch his name into the annals of history. In his most famous work, Utopia, More dared to envision a society that was nothing short of perfection. The book, originally written in Latin, unfolds through dialogues and correspondences between the protagonist, Raphael Hythloday, and his friends and contemporaries. Through this narrative, More explores deep-seated theories of war, political disagreements, social quarrels, and wealth distribution. The utopia that More imagined was an island nation, home to thousands of people living in peace and harmony. In this place, men and women were both educated, and all property was communal. It was a society free of fear, oppression, violence, and suffering. It was in essence an ideal world, a utopia. However, More's utopia was not merely a dream of a perfect world. It was also a biting satire of Europe in the 16th century. Through the lens of Utopia, More critiqued the social, political, and economic structures of his time, highlighting the stark contrast between the world as it was and the world as it could be. More's utopia was a bold vision, a daring conception of a society that was radically different from anything that had been imagined before. It was a concept that would go on to shape the genre of utopian fiction, influencing countless authors and thinkers in the centuries that followed. Thus, Utopia was born, a perfect island nation where peace and harmony thrive. A concept, a dream, a critique, and a vision, all rolled into one. A testament to the power of the human imagination, and a reminder that even in the darkest of times, we can still dream of a better world. Let's delve deeper into More's vision of Utopia. Imagine a place where equality is not merely a concept, but a way of life. In this perfect society, education is not a privilege, but a right afforded to all, regardless of gender or social standing. This is a world where knowledge is power, and power is shared among the many, not hoarded by the few. Here, every citizen is both a scholar and a worker, contributing to society's intellectual richness and its practical needs. This combination of work and study ensures a balanced life, fostering both mental and physical well-being, and it's not just about reading and writing. The education in More's Utopia encompasses a wide range of subjects, including philosophy, music, and physical sciences, fostering a society of well-rounded individuals. Now let's turn our attention to the idea of property in Utopia. In stark contrast to the world we know, More's vision does away with private property. Every item, every resource is held in common, shared equally among the inhabitants. This communal lifestyle eliminates social disparity and economic inequality, removing the root causes of envy, theft, and strife. The absence of private property also gives birth to a form of government that is markedly different from what we're familiar with. There's no aristocracy here, no monarchy, and certainly no dictatorship. Instead, Utopia is governed by a form of democracy with officials elected by the people for the people. So, what does life look like for the average utopian? It is a life free from fear, oppression, violence, and suffering. The utopian society is one of peace and harmony where every citizen lives without the worry of poverty, war, or any form of injustice. The utopians live their lives in tranquility, savoring the joys of a society built on fairness, equality, and mutual respect. In Utopia, every citizen experiences an ideal life free from the woes of the world. But Utopia was not just a dream of an ideal society. It wasn't merely a blueprint of a harmonious nation where property was communal, education universal, and peace the norm. No. Utopia was also a scathing critique, a biting satire of Europe in the 16th century. More was not just fantasizing about a perfect society. He was highlighting the imperfections, the glaring disparities, and the deep-rooted problems in the Europe of his time. He used the concept of utopia to present a stark contrast between what could be and what was. This was not a mere daydream of an ideal world, but a mirror held up to his contemporaries, forcing them to look at their own reflections, at the society they had created. In Utopia, More critiqued the social inequalities of 16th century Europe. The communal ownership of property in Utopia was a direct response to the vast wealth disparities that More saw around him. He took aim at a society where the wealthy lived in luxury while the poor starved in the streets. He challenged the idea that this was the natural order of things, the way society should be. More also critiqued the corruption and power struggles that plagued the political scene of his time. The peaceful, harmonious Utopia was a stark contrast to the tumultuous, war-torn Europe of the 16th century. The education and enlightenment of all citizens in Utopia was a rebuke to a society where knowledge and learning were the privilege of the few. Through Utopia, More was able to question the status quo, to challenge the accepted norms of his society. He used his vision of an ideal world not just to imagine a better future, but to critique the present, to highlight the flaws and failings of the world he lived in. More's Utopia served as both a vision of an ideal world and a critique of the world he lived in. It was a dream and a satire, a vision and a critique, a hope for the future and a condemnation of the present. Utopia continues to shape our understanding of a perfect society. Thomas More's Utopia, a 16th century masterpiece, has had a profound influence on our perception of an ideal world, leaving an indelible mark on literature and societal concepts. Let's delve into the world of utopian fiction first. More's Utopia has served as a blueprint for many later works in this genre. The idea of a perfect society free from fear, oppression, violence, and suffering has been explored time and again in various forms. From the technologically advanced paradises of science fiction to the equitable societies of social commentaries, the echoes of More's Utopia are unmistakable. It's as if More handed us a lantern, illuminating the path for explorers venturing into the realm of utopian fiction. Not only has Utopia influenced literature, but it has also shaped our contemporary understanding of a perfect society. More's vision of equality, peace, and harmony resonates with many of our modern ideals. His depiction of a society where men and women are both educated and all property is communal mirrors our striving for gender equality and wealth distribution. More's Utopia, in a way, has become a yardstick by which we measure our progress towards an ideal world. However, it's essential to remember that Utopia isn't just about perfection. It's also a scathing satire of Europe in the 16th century, a subtle critique of societal norms and political constructs. This duality of Utopia, as an ideal and a critique, keeps reminding us that striving for perfection doesn't mean ignoring the imperfections. It means acknowledging these flaws and continuously working towards improving them. Indeed, More's Utopia has left a lasting legacy. It has provoked thought, inspired literature, and influenced societal ideals. It has challenged us to question, to dream, and to strive for better. Even today, More's Utopia continues to inspire us to strive for a better world. Let's summarize what we've learned about Utopia. This extraordinary concept was first imagined by Thomas More in his groundbreaking book Utopia. He envisioned a perfect island nation, a place where thousands could live harmoniously with education and communal property for all. Through the dialogue of Raphael Hythloday, More delved into the philosophy behind war, politics, social discord, and wealth distribution, painting a picture of a society free from fear, oppression, violence, and suffering. This Latin masterpiece was not just a depiction of an ideal world, but also a sharp critique of 16th century Europe. Its thought-provoking theories and vivid imagination have left a profound impact on literature. shaping the genre of utopian fiction and influencing our understanding of societal perfection. So next time you imagine a perfect world, remember Thomas More's Utopia, a vision that continues to inspire us even today.